This is a video tour of Itacaré, Bahia. We've been here a few days and gotten our orientation pretty good. So I'm ready to make a video of this really cute beach city, town. I don't know if you call it a city, it's very small, but it's Bahia. And so there are very many surfers that come here because the beaches around here are great for surfing. So it's a surfer town, which unlike Huntington Beach, California and Laguna Beach, California, very similar in a way. Attracts a lot of young people, and it's a colorful village with the houses painted different colors. So today we're gonna make a little tour through the city quickly and then go to a secluded beach called Pristine, which is a hike about maybe 45-minute hike, I think, from the town. So here we go. So we're in the pedestrian zone, Passarela de Via, and then it leads to the main town little square here. And then it's the hub of where all the restaurants are and the shops for the locals and tourists. I'm surprised again by the amount of California surfwear that is available here. It's quite amazing that they really love California surfwear, and they pay a lot, of course, you know, to have it imported from California all the way down to Brazil. But here's, yeah, Hang Loose, Hurley, everything from California companies. So it's early morning, and most of the tourists are still sleeping. And their support. There's a fruit cellar in the middle of the street. A lot of beautiful fruit, bananas, mangoes, chayote, I see pineapples, peppers, tomatoes, grapes, oranges. Okay, and here's another surf shop, 40% off. And you can get from Orange County Vans off the wall. Isn't that amazing? All the way down here in Brazil. So this is important, where the fishermen, they bring in their catch to sell every day. There's a little fisherman chapel. With their patron saint, I think it's Saint Francis. It's the patron saint for the fishermen here. Very cool, little chapel. And very important is the ice factory. They sell all the ice, which they use to keep the fish fresh. And today's catch is beautiful. And there's a lot of beautiful fish here. Skipjack, I guess, you know, a kind of tuna, and you can make a lot of good sushi with all these fish. Yeah. Or you can grill it if you have a good barbecue, wood barbecue. Oh God, it tastes so good, the fish, wow. So we have rain going on and off throughout my stay here. It rains a little bit, then the sun comes out, the rain comes back a little bit, so it's, you know, tropics. We didn't have any really major storm, but just the rain, and it dries out. So this is the main harbor where all the little fishermen boats are. So this is low season, so it's really kind of very quiet. There's very few tourists compared to the high season when it's packed, because Brazil, December, January are the big vacation months because it's high summer and really hot. So the schools are out for 2 months and families come on vacation, and also Europeans and Israelis escaping winter in Europe are over here as tourists. So it gets packed, and all these beachfront bars and restaurants get busy, but it's really, really quiet right now. And then there's the game they play, foot volley. So the Brazilians, they love to play not regular volleyball with their hands, but just with their feet and head and shoulder. So that's the rules of the game. You can use your chest, your feet, your head, and your shoulders to hit the ball, but not your hands. So they practice here. There's a little school, I think, or club, where they practice to be on a team. And there's a few really beautiful old houses from the beginning of the 20th century. And so it was like the tail end of Belle Epoque period here in Brazil, where they built these beautiful houses. So you can see the sea outside the harbor with all the waves. So there's a boat, a ferry boat that takes you across the harbor to get to that beach over there. I haven't done that yet. I just stayed on this side of the harbor, the beaches. But maybe we'll do that tomorrow. So here's a sign saying Passeios. So you can hire a boat, a guide. They have little boats, and they'll take you on a boat ride to visit the neighboring beaches, I believe. And up here is the church and St. Michael, San Miguel. And I went to Mass here on Sunday. Beautiful service. I'll have to come back in the evening to check out when they have these little stalls, and I guess the kids with the families, they come here and in the evening and let the kids play. So right now they're tidying up, which is nice, keeping it nice and clean. And there we have St. Michael's Church, São Miguel, which is 350 years old. Matriz São Miguel. And there's some very old little houses down here, very quaint architecture. So it says 1723. 1723. Okay. That's when they built the church. And then on the side here, they have a beautiful orchid tree. My mom's favorite. She had one in her garden one time. And then they have also Our Lady of Lourdes with Bernadette. Very beautiful statues. And I guess morning glory. I think they're called, I don't know what they're called, these beautiful white flowers. And just take a quick peek. And here you go, St. Michael's Church, San Miguel. Okay, so we're gonna head out the road out of town towards Prahaina and check out the little buildings along the road. There's a really cute Art Deco school here. Very, very beautiful square-shaped Art Deco building. That's their public school here in the town. Dedicated to a famous Brazilian politician. I'll have to look him up. Aurelino Leal. And down here in the park, it's really kind of cool. They have the kids' play area and they have the stage. Very modern architecture. Maybe it was built in the 50s, I guess. Very cool. A little stage there. I guess they can have performances when they have their festival, which is coming up. The St. Michael is September 29th. So I won't be here for their festival, but they're all excited because it's their patron, St. Michael. And here's another beautiful Art Deco building, green. Some kind of government building, because there's a symbol of Brazil. The city hall, Câmara Municipal. So they have city services here. And they have a playground right next to the police station. So the kids, they play here basketball right behind the police station, which is pretty cool. Here's a beautiful building and it's for rent. I don't know if it's a restaurant. Yeah, it could have been a restaurant, I guess. Very nice. And yesterday when I walked by here, I was surprised. This lime green building is a language school. So they teach English classes to the kids here, a private English school. Easy to speak language school. And they also have one-on-one Portuguese for foreigners. So if I was staying here, I would take lessons in Portuguese, which is important. And then next to it is a beautiful art gallery, Galeria de Arte. And they have, I would say inside, beautiful artwork from some European and Brazilian artists that live or come here part-time. And here's the best bakery in town, Panificadora Itacare. And they have the best cakes and bread. We'll come back for a piece of cake and coffee later. So what makes it so nice is the different colors that people choose to paint their houses and buildings. The vibrant colors, the pastel, or it's like pink, yellow, turquoise. It really makes you happy, the colors. So here's a little commercial area with shops. As we head towards the town that leads to the road towards our beach today. So we have a lot of things here for the tourists, like beachwear, bikinis, flip-flops, Havaianas, and there's also places to get like just regular clothes too for the locals. But yeah, it's a beach tourist town, so they make a lot of money off the tourists. Okay, so as I walk along the street with all the shops, there's a ballet school! Aulas de ballet e jazz. Okay, Professora Teresa Maria. So we're gonna have to come by this afternoon and say hello to her and check out her ballet school. I can't believe it, in this little town, little ballet school. So here's a very important bank. There's not too many banks here. There's only two banks in town, Bradesco and Banco do Brasil. So you have to line up and queue for your money to use the ATM. And every morning they sell bolos, bolo and cafe. Bolo is the Brazilian word for cake. It's a pound cake. And it's delicious for breakfast. I love eating pound cake for breakfast. I sure had a lot of it in Morro de Sao Paulo. But there's sardines. Oh, dried sardines here. A lot of dry sardine, dry fish. Opa. And then there's fresh lettuce and herbs, onions. This is the busy street because it's the main street that leads out of town. So it's very busy. Most people do everything before noon, before it gets too hot. And of course they have a long afternoon siesta, lunch, because that's what you do in a hot country, is you have a long lunch period because it's just too hot to work. So there's a Casa do Bolo where they bake those delicious pound cakes. And then there's next to it the moto taxi. So a lot of places in Brazil where you don't need a car to get a taxi, you ride on the back of a motorcycle. So they have two helmets, one for the rider, one for the motorcyclist. So I did that once a long time ago in Rio, a moto taxi. It's pretty exciting and very affordable. So we have salgados, the delicious Brazilian pastries that have meat inside, quibe, pastai, and coxinha, and then with the chicken. And down here is the bus station. This is where I got off the bus and made a big hike with my heavy suitcase to the hostel. And what made it difficult was that this road, as you can see, is all cobblestone. They don't have paved roads here. They have cobblestones, which is very quaint, but when you have a suitcase that rolls on wheels, it's very, very difficult because the wheels break. I broke in Romania. I broke one of my wheels on the cobblestones in Romania. So I have 3 working wheels and I have to be very careful with my suitcase not to break it. So I was carrying my suitcase from the bus station about a half a mile almost to my hostel. And there's the bus. And there's my friends from the hostel. so they're going to Salvador. It's so nice at the hostel. You meet so many nice people and you just share stories and information. So a gas station, they have quite a few gas stations. After being on the island where there were like no vehicles, gas vehicles, and so now there's, you know, gas stations everywhere, which is normal. But Mojo de Sao Paulo was special because it was very eco-friendly with electric vehicles and no cars. So we're gonna climb up this hill, and this is the road to Prahaina, and we'll see the sign hopefully soon. I guess it's about maybe a quarter of a mile up this road before we take the little trail down to the beach we're going to today. So we're almost at the top of the hill of the road leading out of the town. But alongside the road, there's a valley down below that has all this housing for the people of lower income, which they use the word favela. I don't know, now they say community because favela has a negative connotation to it now. But anyway, this is where the people, they build their own little houses for very cheap with brick by brick. They buy their bricks, they build their house room by room, and so they live out here, and then they, you know, they work in town, the old town, at the restaurants and the hostels and hotels for the tourists. But anyway, it's very interesting. I guess, you know, tourists are not very welcome down there, but I respect that. But anyway, there you go. It's so interesting, the people, as they build up the hillside of this valley up towards the road, so that they're closer to the road at the top of their house than they are at the bottom, because their house has many floors, and then they have a stairway leading down to the road at the bottom of the valley. But for many people to have two exits and entrances for their house, one at the top of the house, oi, and it's very interesting how they build up from the road down the valley, multiple levels, 4 or 5 stories going down the hillside. So here is an example of how they build poco a poco, bit by bit, with the money that they save. They buy their bricks, and when they have enough bricks, they get the cement, and then they do an addition, room by room, to their homes. I don't think there's very many construction codes here in Brazil that they inspect very much. They get hooked up to electricity and water. But as far as how the buildings are made, the houses are made, I think it's pretty open as far as how they get inspected. But here's another house going up from the bottom of the village, and they're building up to the street level. So behind these weeds is a sign saying this land is for sale. It's roadside, and if you know how to build going down the hillside, you can have your own house with a view. What's cool is that there's this wild flower growing. In California, we call them, I think, related to the black-eyed Susan, the yellow leaves, petals, but then we have a black stem, a pistil. But here it's beautiful, beautiful flower. Let's get another one. There we go. Look at that. Oh, that's so beautiful. I think we're gonna take one. Okay, here we go. We'll have to find out what the name of this flower is. Pretty. Okay, we're still going up the hill. Amazing.